Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Storytime with Steve. Actually, that's not the title. It's Steve's Storytime. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed the first 2 episodes. They should be here on my Facebook page, so check those out below, down further in the feed. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the people who've been sharing. Hope you're all healthy and not cooped up and feeling too cooped up to enjoy your life. Hopefully there's been some laughter from the quarantine comedy we did, and also from the stories I've been telling here. This story is clean. This is family friendly. I know the last one was a little risque. This one's fun for everyone. This is a story about when I was in the Navy. I was on a submarine, if you didn't know that. The USS Scranton out of Pennsylvania. This week's Mazan Movie Club takes place in Pennsylvania, by the way. Puxatawney Phil in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania. Groundhog Day is the movie this week, but that's off topic. When I was in the Navy, I was on board a U.S. submarine, a nuclear submarine, USS Scranton, many friends that I still have from that day. And this is one of my favorite stories. If you know anything about submarines, if you've seen submarine movies, read any of the books, the Tom Clancy, seen anything, the whole idea of a submarine is to go undetected. You need to be silent. So whenever we would do battle stations or run drills to pretend like we were at war or that kind of thing, the whole thing was everyone had to be quiet. Very quiet. Like you couldn't, even if you had to go to one place and be very quiet, and just the people who were doing the important stuff, they could make noise a little bit, but it was, the idea was to be quiet, because if there's other submarines or ships out there, the way that they find you is by you making noise. So that's the whole idea, okay? So that's very important to this story today. So when I first joined the submarine, it was a brand new submarine, all right? It was in the shipyard, so we had to take it out for sea trials, and we tested it, and it was fantastic. Everything was great, and then the first tour we go out on, we got to go to Puerto Rico. Really tough. This was during the Gulf War. Everyone else was fighting a war and doing tough, very brave, heroic stuff, and we got to go to the Caribbean and Puerto Rico. So we pull into Puerto Rico, and as a young man, even though I don't think I was 21 at the time yet, we got to each bring back to America 4 bottles of liquor. Now, Puerto Rico, the liquor there is fantastic. So you could bring home anything. Of course, they're most famous for rum. So almost everyone on board was allowed to get 4 bottles of rum, okay? So everyone got it. Almost everyone took advantage of this, and we brought all the rum on board. So there's anywhere from 100 to 130 people on board at any time on our submarine. So you can imagine this is about 400 bottles of rum on average, right? So that's probably how many we had. Okay, well now you got to keep it somewhere. A submarine, especially ours, was a fast attack. It wasn't one of the gigantic ones that you see that just go out there and hide. We're a fast attack sub, so it's made to move and be quick and fast, and space is very limited already on a submarine, especially on this class of Los Angeles submarines. So there was just no place to keep 400 bottles of rum. All right, so we had to come up with a place to store these. And so the solution we came up with was to put them in one of our torpedo tubes. There's 4 torpedo tubes on board our submarine. Okay, so we decided out of the 4, there was 2 on each side, put it in torpedo tube number 3. All right, so we stashed all of them. We're just like, hey, we put red tape across it, where there was actually a thing like these danger tags that we put. Everything associated with that torpedo tube got tagged with this red tag, so no one would touch anything that had to do with that torpedo tube number 3, because that's where all of our rum that we were taking back to the United States with us was going to be stored. So everyone knew on board, do not do anything with that torpedo tube. So fast forward about a week, we were probably gone for 2-3 weeks or something. We're coming back, we're getting close to America, but there's still a few more days. We were running drills, because that was the whole idea. We're not over in the Gulf, but we had to run drills to make sure that we're always ready in case anything terrible happens. So we would run drills pretending that something happened, and a fire every day. We'd pretend there's a fire somewhere, and you'd say, how does everyone react if there's a fire in the torpedo room or the machinery room where I worked, or in the engine room? All this kind of stuff. What if there's a fire in the kitchen? And we would pretend that happened, and then see how everyone reacts and practice, so that when it really happened, we're great at it. So one day we decided, the captain or whoever decided to run a drill pretending we had found another warship and we were at war with them. So right away they called battle stations. And they even even the call to battle stations is done quietly in this moment. Because again, usually there's a big announcement, battle stations, everyone, battle stations, that kind of, but the idea in battle stations is to be quiet. So they make an announcement, everyone spreads and goes to where they're assigned to go throughout the ship, but everyone does it quietly. It's not like the fire. When there's a fire, everyone runs and fire and you tell everyone. Because you need to put this fire out quickly. If there's flooding, it's the most important thing. You don't care if you give up your where you're at your location at that point, because that's the most important thing. But battle stations, it's different. Battle stations means that there's another warship out there, and you're tracking them, and they're looking for you, so you can't make noise, because that's how they're going to find you. So everyone goes to their stations, their battle stations, quietly, and you wait there. All right. So we're playing this pretend game and everything, but the idea is to be quiet, right? And so we're there, and we had a guy, I think he was the navigator, I might be wrong on this. He was the guy who happened to be the officer in charge in place of the captain, because for the drills, the captain, he always knows what to do. They go through different officers, so whoever happened to be, if this did happen, knows how to do it. You practice. So this guy, I believe he was the navigator, happened to be the guy on watch that day. And we're going through everything, and we're tracking this pretend ship and going, and everyone's quiet, and this goes on for like an hour. We're tracking and trying to find it, and they're pretend tracking us, and everyone's being quiet, and all of a sudden they say, okay, we're at war with this ship. We're going to take down this ship. They have a pretend location they're going to shoot a pretend torpedo at, and everything like that. But we go through all the motions. We do everything. We fake load the torpedo tube. We fake what they call a water slug. So instead of putting a real torpedo in there in these drills, we would fill it with water, and you would pressurize it and shoot out what we called a water slug. So that would be, and it would go to where, the direction of where the ship or pretend fighting is going. So that's what it was. So everyone's on board, everyone's in their places, everyone's awake on the ship, everyone's at battle stations, most important thing. And the navigator comes on, and he's like, okay, we found the contact. And he goes, flood torpedo tube 3. And 130 men throughout the whole ship, a football field line, just yell, no! Because torpedo tube 3 was where all our rum was. And that was way, 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 way more important than giving up our location somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean at that point. And even besides the drill, if anyone was trying to find us at that point, they would have found us, because everyone on board just yelled at this one guy in charge who wanted to fill torpedo tube 3 with water and destroy all our rum that we have been keeping there for a couple weeks. So that's my story of how alcohol and rum was much more important to 130 sailors than our location, which was secret in the Atlantic Ocean. And there's lots of other stories, but that's one of the ones that's probably not classified and not even known to anyone outside of our ship. And I thought you might enjoy it. If you love naval stories and submarines about how quiet they're supposed to be, the one time ours wasn't quiet was when we might lose all that rum. And we made it safe. So luckily, everyone else was smart and didn't flood that torpedo tube. And when we got home, we all had rum. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'm going to do this every day till this quarantine's over. Share a story that I share with my friends all the time when we're drinking beers. And hopefully you've enjoyed them. I'd love to hear some of yours as well. Thanks everyone. Find me, Steve Mazan, M-A-Z-A-N. And again, if you want to buy some merchandise, find me there. And I'll put my Venmo up next time. Thanks everyone. Hope you're enjoying the quarantine and getting out. It's rainy here in LA. Hopefully it's nicer enough where you're at so that you can get out and at least get some fresh air every day. Thanks everyone.